Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo and I am a 2-week-old vegan. And I survived. Can you believe it? I'm kind of shocked, actually, about some of the points I'm about to share with you. I've been documenting, kind of keeping this diary of sorts, like thoughts that I want to bring up in the next weekly update in leaning vegan. I will tell you this, I have no indication that this has been the wrong decision for me at all. I can't say that I've felt like this magical change come over me, but I know that based on certain things happening, I believe that this is what it is that I need to do right now for myself. This is really about me. It may mirror your experience, it may not. I genuinely don't care. I care about you, obviously, but this is a personal lifestyle choice that I've made for a lot of different reasons. Leaning, I must add, means freedom to try to me. And when I say that, because I know I cannot eliminate all animal-based products from my life and lifestyle immediately, I am slowly, eliminating things. I've been needing to replace my wallet for some time, so I've got my eye out for, let's say, a wallet that is, nylon rather than leather. So I'm just going to incrementally go that direction, or knowing that inevitably I am going to eat something that has sugar in it. And I'm not saying that sugar isn't vegan, because it is, if it's natural sugar. Even oil, right? You can have a product that is vegan friendly but still have oil in it. I know inevitably I'm going to have those foods and food products. I know I've had them in the past. I want that freedom within the realm of being vegan. I don't think I have to be the extreme all the time. This is the only thing. But the line that I set for that is within the realm of calling myself or labeling myself a vegan. I'm not going to step outside the boundaries. No, I'm not going to suddenly decide, oh, you know what, today I'm going to have a slab of bacon again. No, that's not going to happen. Certainly not willingly. But I just wanted to point that out because some people have very astutely pointed out to me that, hey, you've eaten this in the past, and what about that? I'm like, it's going to happen, right? But I'm not going to suddenly hate myself because I did not walk the straight, narrow path of this type of vegan. But I know that I want to have that freedom within the realm of veganism. Someone commented last week, I think, on my week 1 update, that, dropping meat, are you having a midlife crisis? Like, God, I hope so. That means I'm going to make it to 90. Like, let it be. Let it be. No, I wouldn't call it a midlife crisis. I think I tend to do certain things around my birthday rather than around the New Year's time frame, like where you would set a New Year's resolution. I don't set a birthday resolution, but having a new birthday now at my age, I'm not quite decrepit, but knowing full well that I'm not getting any younger either, and I have to pay attention to my body and what it says. I have to start paying attention to the environment and what carbon footprint I might have. I'm trying to be a responsible adult and doing the best I can in balancing responsibilities and practicalities, right? So, yeah, I hope I'm having a midlife crisis in doing this. I will tell you this. In the experience over the past week, I have told Diana that if someone would have explained this path to me 20 years ago, not quite 30 years ago, 20 years ago, I would probably be giving you my 20-year update today. I'm not going to say it's been an amazing week, but, discoveries and processes, reworking, meal plans and habits. I'm a creature of habit. I know that it's not easy. Upheaval is not easy. Change isn't easy. But to me, my health is critical. If I don't have my health, I have nothing else. So that's a big deal for me. And I know that even in talking about it, for some reason, and I've heard so many people explain, I've read explanations, I've listened to explanations, I've watched explanations as to why people get offended when I might say I'm a vegan. I don't know why they're offended that I'm not eating animals because I choose not to eat animals. Or let's say surround myself with animal-based products as an eventuality. That to me is not the more offensive of the position. And I say that having had the other position, but I never really took offense when someone said, "Oh, I'm a vegan or a vegetarian." I'm like, okay, that's your choice. I'm very much hands off. Like if it's your personal choice, that's great. You made that decision for your own reasons, and I believe in that. I truly believe in that individual freedom to make decisions for yourself. I don't know why this type of dietary lifestyle is so controversial. And I guess maybe it's because culture has ingrained it, like just drilled it into our heads. Like, milk is awesome and it's everything, and meat, you need to have meat for that and this and eggs, blah. But I never liked the taste of milk, ever. I like chocolate milk, no doubt about that, but never liked the taste of milk outright, even from an infant growing up, because I'm not a baby cow. Milk, of course, has been in a variety of products. It's an industry, as are the other things that vegans are basically swearing off of. But I don't know why it's so controversial. If I'm not, pushing my agenda, right? And you gotta blah, blah, blah. And now, if someone challenges me, yeah, I have a right to refute, what might be, pushed in my direction. But I'm not, I'm at this point really not interested in, proselytizing. It's a word I used, I think, in my first update, because I think that could be a turnoff. Now, if someone asks, I'm very happy to provide a response, to provide an answer. But, someone says, "Oh, I'm on a all banana diet." I'm like, okay, well, I guess it might work for you, right? I think it's not a good idea because you can't get all your nutrition from a banana. But I don't know why that's not controversial, or a low-fat diet's not controversial, but somehow saying you're a vegan is. It doesn't make any sense to me how you could be offended that I don't want to eat animals at this point in my life. And you can't also take the position, well, you ate them before. I'm like, yeah, but I also grew as a person and decided not to eat them anymore. Not just because they have been treated the way they have, not because they have not been raised as animals, but as food product, but because it's not good. It is not the way that we were meant to eat. From everything that I've been discovering, reading, and listening, and watching from a variety of sources, spanning decades, right? Listening to doctors and scientists and anthropologists even, just to try to ascertain a better understanding as to what this means, and is this a solid decision? The one thing I will tell you is that you can't base your nutritional profile based upon a set of standards that is artificially inflated by budgets which have a direct tie to the outcome of said chart. That's pretty much all I have to say about that right now, in so many words. You can't listen to somebody who has that agenda and have them tell you what's good for you if the thing that they say is good for you is the thing that they're selling or the thing that they're funding. I've learned, and this is something that Diana and I have processed, and unfortunately we haven't had a chance to really sit down and talk through this together, and I really want to. I'm really, really excited to do that with her, because she hasn't had a chance to really talk about it, apart from sharing a few things that she's made in social, like for meals. I am changed by facts, not feelings. And that's, I think, critical, because if you are someone who's, motivated by feelings, you may be more motivated by the not just economical impact, but the environmental impact, right? If you're someone, I'm going to lower my carbon footprint. Well, if you're serious about that, yeah, you can get an electric car, sure. You can turn off the lights when you're done with them, but you're going to make a steep impact in your carbon footprint, like by decreasing it by going vegan. So that's something that I've learned. I'm like, wow, that's insane. Now Diana would have said, well, but think about the chickens. She didn't say that outright. That's not Diana's exact phraseology there. But I'd say, but yeah, but how am I going to eat, right? You know, what am I going to eat? If I'm not eating that, what am I going to eat? She was trying to change me with feelings, I think is what it came down to. But ultimately, I was, I wouldn't say persuaded. I was just, it came along at the right time. I was impacted by facts. And ultimately, that is a huge selling point for me. Feelings come second to facts for me. It's the way I think. That's the way I feel. That's how I operate. It's my modus operandi. Everybody's different, though, right? So that's just an interesting discovery that I had last week. In terms of what I've been, listening to more and more, of course, Mike the Vegan. He gave me a shout out. Actually, I sent him an email after Diana sent him an email. And I made sure he saw this study that was released because I thought that the results were muddied at best and disingenuous at worst. And he agreed, but he backed it up in a substantial fashion, as he's prone to do. Gave him props last week, and will continue to, because he's absolutely been a guiding light. But I've also been listening to a lot more of John McDougall. He has a variety of videos out there. I mean, and it may not be the peppiest presentation, right? But it's dense with experience as a doctor in treating people, and again, spanning decades. We're not talking about this, fad diet, right? We're talking about something that has been known to work, and that's something that I really, really enjoy, in listening to other health professionals. And you're going to find people who have different opinions. You also got to know, what experience they've had. I will tell you this, too, in terms of talking to medical professionals that we happen to know or be connected to, they haven't thrown up any red flags that we weren't already aware of, and I'll get to one here in just a bit. I do think that in the realm of veganism, in being a vegan, if I can use that label, I believe I am a whole food, plant-based vegan, which means I'm not going to eat it, by and large, if it's not processed. As I said, there are exceptions to the rule, right? I'm going to, and have been for the past week, I did actively avoid oil, apart from some sesame seeds that were in with some brown rice, vegetable sushi, a roll, and I think it also had avocado in it. But I did not go out of my way necessarily to pursue products that might have had oils in them. Did not eat a lot. Pardon me. I don't think I had any nuts today. Or no, I'm sorry, not just today. This week, I don't think I had any nuts that I know of. We have some almonds on hand, some raw almonds, but I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be eating a lot of nuts and seeds and avocado right now. I'm sure they're going to be there, but I also know they may impede my progress in terms of an initial goal with leaning vegan, and that is specifically to lose the fat and keep it off. And then once I'm there in terms of my weight goal, then I may increase the amount of nuts, seeds, avocado that I might eat on a regular basis. But right now, most of my fat is being provided by everything else that I'm eating. But I do believe that I am squarely in the center of a whole food, plant-based vegan. And I think anybody who is serious about their health as one of the motivating factors, whole food, plant-based vegan, this is a horrible label. I don't know who came up with this, but like the branding is so off key. Like it's whole food, plant-based. Like it's not Whole Foods. No, I didn't say Whole Foods. I said whole food, plant-based vegan. It's WFPB. WFPB. I'm going for my notes, by the way. Otherwise, way off course. WFPB. Can we come up with a different label? I don't know if I'm a part of we yet. But I think, like, 1 year in, like, it'll be my goal in life to give that, which I believe I am, us, a label. We need a better label. But that is who I believe I am in terms of this realm of veganism, which means a lot of processed foods off the table, and there are exceptions, as I noted. But as a foundation for what it is that I might be eating on a regular basis, I guarantee it's whole food, plant-based. The thing that I also found fascinating is of course, I think I alluded to last week, you could give someone a vegan like meal, and they'd eat it and they'd love it. I'm like, this is great, this is wonderful, and you tell them, well, it was vegan, and then they'd freak out, right? But you could have a vegan lifestyle without being full vegan. And I know that's probably going to upset a lot of people, but it's true, right? You could have, let's say, a starch-based dietary lifestyle and never claim or label yourself or choose to adopt the label of being vegan. I believe that everything that is vegan is very attractive to me, and I'm very grateful that Diana does as well. But you know, if you're interested in some of the things that I'm experiencing, you could experience them too without ever coming close to being a vegan. I'm just going to be honest with you. You can have a starch-based dietary lifestyle and be way better off. And I think that would probably be kind of a stepping stone into the greater realm of what veganism may turn into for you in your life. But I think more than anything, I'll get to this. It's the next point I have. I have been I've been eating. And every bite I take, I make sure it is nutrient dense. Like I'm not interested in having something that's just going to fill me up. I want something that is going to give my body what it needs. And I have been full twice over the past week with the dinners that Diana's made. Full. Like, I mean, my stomach I was like, oh my God, I can't eat anymore. I've eaten a lot. There's no ceiling. I'm not thinking about how much I'm eating. I eat. Am I hungry? Eat. Hungry, eat. Okay, this is something that I can eat. This is something I could eat, and make sure I, get enough of this and enough of that. But I'm definitely getting my fill. I'm drinking more water, way more water than I had been. I've actually kind of got a secret to that in terms of how you could drink more water. Don't tune out yet. I got a secret there. It's a good one too. Trust me. I will tell you. And this is kind of, it's got me a little concerned, so I will be talking, a little further with those who are, a little more in the know on a personal level. I've lost 8 pounds. I feel I am eating more. I feel like I'm drinking more water. In fact, I know I'm drinking more water. I weighed in at the 7-day mark at 1 week as of the last update at 149. So I'm officially in the 149s, and that is regular pattern, everything. 8 pounds. So there's a deviation around that number, right? You don't know. When I weighed myself this time around, I was 157 when I first really said, hey, this is where I'm going, just a couple weeks ago. I'm eating. I'm not starving. I'm not starving. I'm eating everything that I possibly can. That I within the realm of a whole now this past week, a whole food plant-based diet. And I'm getting enough. I'm definitely getting enough. But I think I don't know why the initial weight loss is happening. It is a radical change. With this, over the past week, I dropped coffee. I've also not had a beer, and the reason why is, according to Dr. McDougall, you can have alcohol. Alcohol may not make you fat. It's, when you get drunk, your inhibitions are lowered, and then you eat everything. That's kind of why you get fat off of alcohol outright. But if you have alcohol, you may be effectively hindering your progress in terms of weight loss, because your body will burn off that alcohol before it starts burning off your fat. So I just opted to stop drinking coffee, stop drinking beer, stop drinking, I almost said meat. You can't, well, I don't ever want to drink meat, ever again, but I never would have wanted to drink meat. But my body's gone through a lot over the past week. Over the past week, it's definitely gone through a lot. But yeah, I've lost 8 pounds. That's for real, and that doesn't seem to be slowing down any. So I'm getting even a little bit of exercise too. And I've actually got a note on that in just a bit. I am curious. Like, I'm trying to eat enough, and I know there are charts and graphs saying here's how much you need to eat. I don't know where I'm gonna. My stomach ain't got room. Right? I'm like, I'm not starving myself. I'm eating as much as I possibly can. Within this realm, and it may end up being that, even though I know I don't necessarily need them in the immediate term, going to eating more nuts throughout the day, because I don't want to do the wrong thing for my body. But I am absolutely eating enough. Oh my God. I was full twice with just dense food. We're not talking about any additives. Just like, we're talking like Fruits and vegetables, man. Like, this, bam. It's crazy to me. Crazy. But I know that my when I've done weight loss in the past, based on my frame and goals, I would have to get to 1,400 calories in a day. And that was easy to do when I was drinking cream with my coffee, when I was having a beer, when I was, you know, able to, you know, not have to necessarily keep myself to, you know, a certain part of the food cornucopia that may be in front of me. But it's a challenge to get enough calories, and I need to, and I know I need to figure out how to without getting so full every time. So I you know, it's a discovery process. This is where I am this week, right? Diana said that she admires my willpower. And I told her, like, in relation to eating and sticking to, you know, this, I said, you know, it's not, to me, it's not even about willpower, right? It's not about, you know, oh, I believe. No, it's just that I set my mind to something. It's about knowing my goals, right? And when I know my goals, I don't want to do anything that is going to be counterproductive to achieving those goals. Otherwise, I will have failed nobody but myself. Nobody. And so, like, I have the goal every day, get the nutrition that they say, and when I say they, I mean the greater they. Like, make sure you get your vitamins, make sure you get your minerals, make sure you get your fiber, make sure you get your fat, make sure you get your protein, make sure you get... I've been, to my knowledge, best hitting those goals, you know, without sacrificing, you know, anything in relation to hunger. And it's just knowing those goals. So I don't want to, I don't want to waste a bite, right? What's the point? Because it's not going to do me any good, and it's not going to bring me any closer to my goal. My initial and ongoing goal is to not have to worry about this stuff, to just live this lifestyle, right? So, to me, it's not about willpower. It isn't. It's not about missing something. It's just about knowing my goals. That's it. I will tell you that in terms of hitting goals and getting food, there is a myth, and this is a popular myth, apparently, and even my brother Adam... he kind of threw it out there, saying something along the lines of, well, you know, good for you for being able to live this way, but not everybody can afford to. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it made 0 sense to me, because we are spending less money. And I don't just mean that I'm not buying beer, I'm not buying coffee or cream or anything else. A sack of potatoes cost $2. And those aren't even the ones that we got on sale. We get like 3 apples for like $1. Like, it's not that expensive. You don't spend as much money on... No, when you eliminate 99% of the grocery, like in terms of what's at a store, you're gonna save money, right? You can save money. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. You can't claim it's more expensive when it isn't. And so I replied and I said, here's an example. Boom. Here's another example. Boom. Here's another example. Boom. How can you tell me that's more expensive? It just isn't. It isn't. But I take the approach of a whole food plant-based diet. And I think the myth of it being more expensive is unfortunate, because it gets tied in with larger brands and other food products that are keen on replacing your diet with new stuff that may be vegan friendly or vegetarian friendly. So this is something that I mentioned to Diana, and I made a quote here. I honestly believe that people see an 8-pack of hot dogs for $2, and then a 5-pack of veggie dogs for $6. So again, like, one might be 2, one might be 6, and then they automatically interpolate that it's more expensive to live that way. And the answer isn't in finding an alternative to a meat, a dairy, an egg, or whatever type of product with a vegan equivalent or a vegetarian equivalent. Effectively, you're falling victim to the same trap, man. Like, when you claim it's expensive, you're in that mindset that the only way to get food is in a box, or the only way to get food is if it came from an animal, right? That it's a trap, because a potato is not that expensive. Spinach leaves, not that celery, not that expensive. Carrots, not that expensive. Fruits and veggies, generally speaking, not that expensive, right? I mean, we get lucky when we find organic on sale. Sure, it's better. I still have questions about that label. I'm not quite sold on it. But you don't have to live an organic lifestyle to have a better lifestyle. You don't have to spend more to avoid what you've been accustomed to. You just don't, right? You don't need to replace milk with a nut milk. You don't. There's no rule. You don't need a nut milk to survive. You think they did thousands of years ago? Okay. If you truly believe that, fine. There's certain things you don't need. Eliminate the things you don't need. It's suddenly not expensive to eat. It's suddenly not expensive. But don't fall victim to the same trap. Oh, it's a horrible myth. Isn't that more expensive? Like, how's it more expensive? We're still going on the sack of potatoes we bought like 4 days ago for $2. I get a potato a day. It gives me the nutrition that I need, according to what's been said by they, the infamous they say. So I mentioned that I gave up drinking beer. It just didn't need it. You know, it was fun, but right now I'm trying to lose weight. Not a good thing to add if I'm trying to lose weight. I may have to pick it up again to get calories. Stop drinking coffee. I don't think that's going to reverse. I've always been a fan of Genmai Cha. That's how I've been told it was pronounced. I used to say Genmai Cha, and then it was Genmai Cha. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just read the label. That's all I see. I'm a fan of matcha, although it tends to be a bit pricier, and I also don't have the whisk for it. But I've tried Genmai Cha. It doesn't have a lot of caffeine, but you know, it's kind of not a coffee substitute, but like, yeah, just a little routine, you know. And I love it. I love Genmai Cha. Love it. It's basically rice, roasted brown rice, sencha leaf, and the rice is popped like a popcorn. It's no popcorn. I thought there was popcorn in there. I guess this is a strange myth as well, but no, there's no popcorn. That's actually popped rice. So the secret to drinking water, I've got my points for food like lumped together here. The secret to drinking more water is add a fruit to it, or a vegetable, and you got to be specific about the vegetable. A cucumber. I love cucumber water. I have for years. Like, you want me to drink water? Add a little cucumber. You slice it up. You know, you can take off the peel, drop it in, let it just basically soak, and there you go. You've got cucumber water. It's water that's infused with cucumber. It's flavored water. It's so good. I love cucumbered water. Like, Diana couldn't figure out how to crack that nut, right? You need to drink more water. I'm like, water's plain. I like water, but it's like, I know I need it. But how am I going to drink it? And then I said, well, why don't we add cucumber to it? I keep calling it coconut water. It's not coconut water. It's just cucumber. Don't drop the cukes in the slices into your glass. Put it in a pitcher. Let it sit in the fridge, and then just keep pouring water in there until the flavor is kind of worn off. Then you can just eat the cucumbers, which I've been eating them specifically with something else. I'll get to that in just a second, because the first thing I want to make note of is that the sushi meal that I had last week had a lot of white rice in it, and I think I got constipated. Now, I've also known that coffee can be a great accelerant in that capacity, so it may very well have been my diminished intake of caffeine that may have constipated me the day or a couple days after I had sushi. It could have been the white rice outright. I'm steering more towards brown rice. I like white rice. It's not as nutritionally dense. I'd rather spend my chewing and digesting and processing on brown rice. But the one thing that seems to freak everybody out, because they're just not quite there yet in terms of understanding or their own education, I know very well that it is known that not getting nutrients, a certain nutrient from soil, or plants specifically pulled from the ground, bacteria in that soil, you're not going to get B12 on a whole food plant-based diet outright, because a lot of those are kind of stripped away. But you should get B12 anyway. That's a thing. And you may on your current plan. But I'm going to recommend something to everybody, whether you are a vegan, a whole food plant-based person or not. They call it Nooch. That's what I started calling it. Nutritional yeast. I love this stuff. Like, this is something that if you would have given me years ago, I would have been eating it every day. It's amazing. It's like this little savory kind of flaky. It's nutritional yeast, right? It's not going to harm you, and it's packed with your B's. Like a couple of tablespoons a day, you've got your B recommendation. Done. And it works so well in savory dishes, right? I just sprinkle it on, and this is what I'll do. I've got like sprouted wheat bread, like Ezekiel bread. What is it? Ezekiel 4:9. It's probably the wrong Bible verse. Anyway, so it's sprouted wheat, no oil in the bread. I'll sprinkle on the nooch, and then place those cucumbers that I'd been using for the water that had been kind of used up, and basically place them on top, to add moisture to it. And it's a wonderful treat. It's really good. You wouldn't think it, but it's really genuinely good. So I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm just 2 weeks old here. If you are a vegan or a plant-based lifestyle, a whole food plant-based lifestyle person, or you know of one, or even if you're not, try nutritional yeast. Just try it. Or, just keep buying vitamin B12 supplements or B supplements, right? I'm telling you, this stuff is good. And I know it works. Here's how I know I'm getting enough B12. Take a guess. How do you know when you're getting enough B12? How do you know? Pee. Pee will tell you whether or not you are getting enough vitamin B12. So my pee, when I've had enough B12, looks very luminescent. So that's how you know you're getting enough B. So I'm definitely getting enough. Get your nooch. Get your nooch. I'm telling you, nooch is, I love it. I don't understand it. I was like, Diana, this is a staple. This is like a daily thing. Because you have to. You got to get your vitamins. So that's not a problem. So anybody who says, Chris, I'm really concerned about you. Are you getting your vitamin B12? Well, first of all, I don't think a deficiency would have an effect 2 weeks into something. But I'm definitely covered there. Diana even made some oil-free potato chips the other day, and they were just amazing. In the microwave, right? She just sliced them up really super thin, stuck them in the microwave for however long, and they came out crispy, and they were great. Just the raw potato flavor was just amazing. I loved it, and I'm like, this is great. This is a great little snack. I even took a picture on the Death Star plate, and more people were remarking on the plate than they were the chips, but there was no oil, no salt, and they were absolutely delicious. One thing, now I'm in terms of talking about some general experiences and things that kind of came up. When I first released the video that I was leaning vegan, someone who's in the Star Wars community mentioned to me, said, yeah, it's a great journey, and we're still doing this, and we did this blog a while ago, and just wait until you have your first dream where you're eating meat. And I kind of laughed, I'm like, what? That happened. I had a dream. They were in the kitchen, and somehow I was eating this meat product, right? I don't know what it was, like Spam or a hot dog or something. And I was freaked out in my dream, like, ah! I mean, it wasn't like, overboard, but I was just like, because I've quit. Like, I flipped the switch, right? I'm done, right? I'm not going to go back. So it happened. I had a dream that I ate meat. It freaked me out. So if I'm dreaming about it, I know this is a decision for me. Like, this is not something that I'm kind of, we'll see. I believe I'm going to see this path, all the way through and beyond, knowing full well that health is a primary concern, and I'll be sure to make sure my health checkups are regular and what have you. Now, speaking of, we've been taking Jedi for walks, of course, which is fun to do. She says she likes going for a walk, when really she means she wants to go for a ride. She never actually walks. We push her in the stroller in the wagon. And I've noticed something. This happened, like, this was not long after my first week update, I think, that day that I recorded the video. We went walking. It was a fair distance, and I was done, and I just did not feel tired. I didn't feel tuckered, right? Like, I need to sit down. I was fine. Like, I knew I elevated my heart rate, and I wasn't necessarily monitoring my heart rate, but I didn't feel winded. I didn't feel like I was expecting to feel. And this has happened not just once, guys. I thought, well, maybe that's an outlier. Maybe that was just, I got lucky or whatever. But it's happened. I'll go for a rather intense walk, and we got hills, right? And I'll feel fine. I don't feel tired. I don't feel worn out. I feel not re-energized necessarily, but I don't feel worn out. I don't feel tuckered. And the only thing I can attribute that to is maybe it was that I'm not drinking caffeine, but it's got to be all these changes, an amalgamation of all these changes together. It very well could be the fuel that I'm running on now. If you want to burn fat, it's a great way of doing it, right? I'm kind of astounded. Like, I can't explain what it feels like to have an intense walk, like up a hill, down just an intense period of activity, and not feel like boom, 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 boom. Like, you're just like, oh man, I can't do this, right? And I'm not saying I was out of shape before necessarily, but it was just something that I've noticed. Like, after I do something like that, going up an intense hill, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm breathing normally. I'm not panting. I'm not, sweating, of course, in the middle of summer, but I'm not tuckered, right? I don't feel I don't feel worn out. Not worn. It's this weird feeling. I don't expect to feel that way at the end of a period of activity like that. It's just different for me. And the only thing I can attribute it to is the changes I've made, and I think largely based on the fuel that I'm now getting. If it's not taking it from my body reserves, that's what fat is, folks. It's your reserves. My farting has dissipated. Sadly, had a lot of farting the first week. I forgot to mention that. I enjoyed it greatly. They don't stink necessarily. It's just fun. I don't know. You got your own butt trumpet, right? It's just, you know, I'm a guy. No, I'm not gonna blame it on being a guy. I'm in a state of arrested development. No, I'm not gonna say. It's just bodily noises always make me laugh. Always have, always will. Couldn't tell you why. Don't know. But farting has gone down. I'm still getting plenty of fiber for sure. But it's good. That's how you know you're getting your fiber, right? But expect that in your first week, maybe even your second. It's certainly dissipated. So I pretty much covered everything that I know of that I wanted to cover for this week. It's been a great journey, 2 weeks in, far from over, just beginning. My intention, if I do end up getting a headache tonight, caffeine withdrawal, which I think it is, not the change in prescription, which I tried, you know, troubleshooting. That's a geeky thing to do. You try one thing, try another. I'm just troubleshooting. I am going to get a new prescription here real soon, but, and pardon me if I've already mentioned that in this particular update. It's been a long update. But I think that the caffeine withdrawals have taken their toll. So if I do end up getting a headache again tonight, I'll just take a little magical pill called acetaminophen or what have you, whatever's on hand, just to kind of let my body better adjust. It should only be maybe, hopefully, a few more days before a lot of the intense withdrawal symptoms, end up disappearing from lowering the caffeine intake in such a sharp way. My goals for this coming week: every day I want to have a cup of broccoli. So I have vegetable goals. A cup of broccoli, right? Dinner, and sprinkle some nooch on it. It's great. Don't need much more than that. The hope is that we'll be able to find and keep kind of rediscovering herbs and spices to flavor the food, not salt, trying to avoid salt, if only, again, because water and retaining water, I don't need the salt. I'm going to try to go without it. Can't believe I'm saying that either. But broccoli, a cup of broccoli, I think it's a reasonable goal this week. Also, I'm going to try to avoid, and I think I did pretty well with this last week, minus the mashed potatoes that Diana made, which were great. The avoidance of any nut milks. This is not something that I drink outright. It's not something that Diana puts in her foodstuffs that she might prepare for me. But I'm going to do my best to avoid those things. And again, continue to refine my approach to this change. Monitor what's going on. Make a kind of these notes as I go along, so that when I provide a week 3 update, you'll hear about the changes and revelations and differences and experiences. You'll be with me every step of the way with that. This is great. I understand why when people turn vegan or start leaning vegan, I can understand why they get excited about it, especially when they start seeing results that they may have been expecting. If it's not from an environmental impact or specifically a cultural impact, then even in a personal impact, I'm eating everything I can. I got to eat more. I know I got to eat more. I just got to figure out what I'm going to eat more of. We'll see. I've got some ideas. Like I said, nuts and maybe some popped sorghum if I can find a source that does not have any oil or salt or any additives in it. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to live in a world that throws, food product in your face, and that's all you see, right? That's the norm. That's the culture. It's very difficult to go against the grain, so to speak, because I'm eating grains, right? See, it's a play on words. The old Chris Pirillo is still there. Just rather lighter than he was last week, getting physical exercise, getting food, getting nutrients. I need to figure out, okay, so is this okay? Am I doing something wrong? What's going on? Why is this happening to me? In a good way, I think. But I do want to thank you. I do appreciate all the support and wonderful little community we've got. And it's a very tiny community. I think more people are upset that I'm no longer eating animals. They keep eating animals, but they're the ones who are upset. Okay. Not my choice. Not my choice. But I'm not the one casting judgment. Right? I'm not the one throwing it out there first, right? When someone throws it out there, I'm going to throw it back. I love you. I appreciate you. But at this point, I'm going to say, may the force be with you.